going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricardo coming back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about some NFL rule changes that could maybe and maybe not affect the Falcons moving forward, but it's definitely going to change the way some of the NFL is going to be played, especially on the special teams route. Also, we're going to talk about some things going on OTAs. We heard from a lot of guys today what they had to say about how the OTAs going, how the teams look so far. Of course, we heard from the coach Arthur Smith as well. Also, talk about the addition or JJ Arcega-Whiteside. What the last time I was on here, did not get to mention him as well. But guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know that I dropped another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here what I talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here and talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So like I said, guys, there are two NFL rule changes that we're going to talk about today. The first one is the kickoff rule, where teams going to adopt the college rule where if you catch the ball inside the 25, not in the end zone, you can actually fair catch it and you receive the ball on the 25-yard line. I can tell you there's a lot of coaches, especially special team coaches, head coaches, was really upset with this rule change. Obviously, the change was made because of health and safety rules. They mentioned that the numbers went up. I don't know if I've seen that many injuries from kickoff, but in any way, they decided to adopt this rule. It's a 1-year rule they're going to put in place. How it affect the Atlanta Falcons, especially on the kickoff, I think it'll affect us more. Try not to kick the ball in the end zone. It was where we was trying to kick the ball, within that 20 to 1 yard line range and try to stop the ball before they got to the 25, right? So that was the whole idea of why special team coaches and head coaches really didn't like this rule, because it kind of took out the exciting play in the kickoff. We all know what happened last year when Cordell got the ball and ran it back for a touchdown. Special teams definitely create big plays. That was one of my keys to victory every week for the Atlanta Falcons is field position. So if you can kick the ball deep and pin guys within, the 20-yard line, that's what you want to do. But this rule, would definitely prevent that. The guys can just fair catch the ball and get it at 25. Now it will be interesting to see what special team coaches decide to do, head coaches, or they decide to squid kick the ball or something like that to see can they still pin guys deep. But you risk letting somebody pick it up and get better yardage that way, field position. So you have to just figure out how coaches are going to actually play this new rule. Once again, I think most coaches hated this rule, but at the end of the day, it was for health and safety. And we know they call themselves trying to fix some of this health and safety things within the NFL. They mentioned, they thought about the XFL rule. If you go back and look at the way they kick off the ball, both teams are lined up within 5 yards of each other, and then the receiver is in the back, and that's a target spot they have to kick in. And that's a return. Against that, they thought about looking at this rule like that. That would be kind of weird for the NFL, but we'll have to just see what they decide to do. But this rule is in for 1 year, and I don't think it'll stop CP from taking it out the end zone, trying to get another touchdown. So we'll see what happens with that. The next rule that they brought forth, the owners agreed for what they called the Brock Purdy rule. We know what happened in the NFC Championship game last year. Brock Purdy got injured. They brought in Josh Johnson. He had went in concussion protocol. They actually had to bring Brock Purdy back in. He could only hand off the ball because they did not have a third quarterback on the roster. This rule allows teams to carry on a third quarterback for emergency purposes, and it won't count towards the game day roster spot. So they can actually keep a quarterback there. The only catch, that quarterback cannot play unless both quarterbacks go down. So that's one of the things, the caveats to the rule, that they can bring a third quarterback on. It won't count towards the roster spot, but he can only play if both quarterbacks was to get injured or get harmed. Also, if the teams want to keep 3 quarterbacks on their roster, this rule would not apply to them because they already got their third guy. You can't bring another player in, for a positional and say that he's going to be your quarterback. It only counts towards the quarterback position. So, guys, let me know what you think about the rule. How did that really affect the Atlanta Falcons? Not sure. Like in my roster projection, I only had the Atlanta Falcons keeping 2 quarterbacks. If they wanted to keep a third, they could bring a guy like Logan Woodside in, but they won't have to have him active. They can have him as that emergency guy. He won't count towards the active day roster. So that's how we have to look at it for our Atlanta Falcons. So both of those NFL rules, guys, not too much a big deal, especially every time something happens, especially in a playoff game where 49ers probably felt like they had another quarterback. They had a chance to win that game against the Eagles. And then, of course, the kickoff is all about safety, according to the league, why they make that rule change for this 1 year. And we'll see, will it stick? Guys, let me know what you think about those rule changes in the NFL. Next thing we'll talk about the addition are JJ Arcega-Whiteside that the Atlanta Falcons decide to bring in, who actually tried out for the Atlanta Falcons during rookie minicamp, a guy who was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles 3 years ago in the draft and did not live up to the hype of being the 2nd round pick. Actually got traded to the Seattle Seahawks and was not able to stick with those guys as well. And here he is with the Atlanta Falcons. Body type, big guy. Actually had a pretty good college career. It's the reason why the Philadelphia Eagles decided to take a swing on him in the 2nd round, but it did not live up to the hype. A guy that could find his stride with the Atlanta because we know Arthur Smith love big body receivers. A guy that can block in the run game, could be physical, could have a big role on special teams. We'll just have to see. But made a lot of contested catches in college and could never know, could be a red zone target for the Atlanta Falcons. But one thing about this regime, they're going to bring in guys to compete, give guys chances, and you can only ask for that if you're a player. Is come in and try to see if you could, this could be your fit that you need, right? JJ Arcega-Whiteside definitely going to be competing, in my opinion, for the 4th to 5th wide receiver spot, and along with all those other guys that we have, and maybe the best man win. Hopefully, we have a good, healthy competition at that wide receiver spot. So, guys, now we're going to talk about the OTAs. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons going to their 2nd day at OTAs. This time of the year, it's not anything. It's really not really about, actual contact, physicality, things like that. It's all about going out, getting the communication down, getting the scheme, understanding guys, fundamentals, things they got to work on. We heard from a lot of guys today. Of course, the head coach, I don't think Arthur Smith really liked talking about OTAs because they ask question about what you see out there, and Arthur Smith feel like it's just not really a practice. This guy's just working on things they need to work on. A different phase in this practice during the off season, that where you're just getting work in, and when you get into later on in the phases of this off season program, you'll be able to hit the ground running. Because, like for an example, younger guys coming in trying to learn the routine of practice and things like that. They get to June into minicamp and then get into training camp, these guys don't have their head spinning and just trying to line up and where they need to be and go to the next play. So this time right here is definitely the communication, getting timing down, getting to know each other, building that camaraderie. So when we get to training camp, these guys can hit the ground running. Like I said, we heard from so many other guys. We heard from Calais Campbell, who's really excited about this team. I love this defensive line. They're so deep. If you go look at some highlights, they was running drills and things like that. But Calais is definitely going to be a big present for this team this year. His veteran being in the league for 15 years, he can teach these guys so much. Even guys like Grady Jarrett and David Amayada, Bud Dupree as well, another guy who's been in the league 9 years. Those veterans definitely going to bring something to this team, and you have to love the mixture of young guys and veterans from a defensive standpoint. On the offense side of the ball, we heard from quarterback one. Still impressed with the way Desmond carries himself as the leader of this team. He seems more confident, but like I said, this is OTAs. You're not going to get not high or low on the things that you see. You love the connections you have seen from him and Drake. It seems like that continues to be the case. So I love what we heard from him as well. Heard from Drake. Mentioned that the position is football. Guys going to be lined up everywhere. Defense is going to definitely have to figure out where everybody's at. Tyler Algier, another guy that definitely got his confidence last year, going over 1,000 yards. Not intimidated at all by Bijan Robinson coming in. I think that dynamic duo is definitely going to be a breath of fresh air for this Atlanta Falcons team, because their running style is so different, and the versatility that Bijan Robinson bring. Both of those guys can potentially be on the field at the same time. So you love that. And last but not least, we heard from young Wade Cool, right? Coming in. I love his confidence as well. Mr. Automatic pretty much for us from a field goal standpoint. This is where we're at, guys. OTAs 2023. Not a whole lot to talk about. Not too much to get excited about. But you love to see these guys on the field building that camaraderie, getting the things they need to get down, so when they get to training camp, they'll be ready to go. So, guys, let me know what you think about those rule changes. Also by JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who I did not get a chance to talk about since his signing the other day, and your thoughts on OCA so far. What are some of your takes that you heard from the guys? Please go look at their interviews on AtlantaFalcon.com and give me your takes. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.